this work? आवाज आ रही है आप सबको? Zabardast. I get very embarrassed by such intros, but thank you so much for the very kind intro. And I see a bunch of very familiar faces, very old friends who are here, and some new ones as well. So really excited to be here. And the good thing is that for the next, hopefully 20 minutes, I'm not going to be talking about code. I'm going to be talking about leadership. And that is something that we really think about at Google. That is something that you think about, you know, अपनी daily life में. How many of you here consider yourself to be technology leaders? Zabardast. So even for those of you who do not think of yourself as technology leaders, you are leaders in some way. And the whole purpose of this talk is to kind of make you realize why you are a leader, why you need to think big, and especially why you need to think 10x. And there's a whole joke around, 10 developers and 10x leadership in the development world. We are not going to touch upon that. We're not going to talk about what 10x leaders are or 10x developers are. But this is more about how you can bring about change while learning technology. So a little bit about myself. Who am I? My role at Google is to manage developers and developer communities. Why? Because there are a lot of developers around the world, and the markets that I have are Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh. So when you collectively look at these markets, these are like jo total number hai, that's around 400 million people. So that's 500 million people. So some of the programs that I work on are very scaled program, as we like to call it. And अगर आप लोगों को already Google का पता है या आपने सुना है या Google आप daily use करते हैं, so you would know that Google is a company which works on a scale. So it's available in all the countries of the world, and it's available in all the cities of Pakistan. And speaking of cities, I have a very interesting question to ask. Let's see how many of you actually know this. Pakistan में कितनी cities हैं? हाथ खड़ा कीजिएगा, जवाब ना दीजिएगा. How many cities are there in Pakistan? Do not answer, just raise your hands if anyone wants to take a guess. अगर किसी ने तुक्का मारना है, तो feel free to do that. This is the best time to do that. पाकिस्तान में कितने शहर हैं? Maybe 74, 400, 100, 1000, 200, something 100. So, okay, 59. Okay, so the exact that we have is around 251. And this is again, it was something that very interesting that I was searching about yesterday. So it's Google is a very scalable company. And the sort of challenges we face every day are very scalable. Like when we think about our markets, we think about markets on a very linear, in a very linear structure. कि अगर हम एक चीज़ जो है वो पाकिस्तान में launch करेंगे, तो how will it affect Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, or some of the neighboring markets as well? And similarly, I think the solutions that you're trying to develop with technology have to have kind of a similar pattern as well. So आज से काफी साल पहले एक अमेरिका के प्रेसिडेंट थे, उन्होंने कहा we choose to go to the moon. कौन थे ये अमेरिका के प्रेसिडेंट? जॉन एफ कैनेडी. इससे हमें पता लगता है कि आप काफी ज्यादा यूएस में टाइम गुजार के आए हुए हैं. This is actually true. But when was this? ये कौन सा साल था when Kennedy said this? 64, 63, or 60? 68? So it was actually 1962 when John F. Kennedy said that we chose to go to the moon not because it's easy, but because it's hard. And I think this is a very important part in the tech leadership world जो हमें सोचने की ज़रूरत है कि why do we always pick things which are easy to do? Why don't we really pick things that are hard to do? Because it's the harder things which really challenge us to do great things and achieve great results. And when you go forward, look at this, कुछ almost 7 साल बाद, US was able to do that. Unless you are a conspiracy theorist and you think the US did not land on the moon. So US, let's believe you are not a conspiracy theorist and US actually landed on the moon. So कुछ ही साल बाद they were able to do this. And I think सबसे पहले एक जो हमें चीज़ की ज़रूरत है टेक लीडरशिप में, ख़ास तौर पे पाकिस्तान में, वो ये है कि वी नीड टू डेवलप बड़ी सोच. We need to develop a kind of a thinking which is like a moonshot. And moonshot is something that we at Google are very familiar with. So moonshots are these really crazy, impossible, seemingly impossible ideas that can change the world. और ये इस तरह के आइडिया शायद आपको भी रोज आते हो कि जी अच्छा मैं जो है ना इस तरह की चीज़ बनाऊंगा जिससे पूरी दुनिया में ये हो जाएगा. एंड वी कीप थिंकिंग अबाउट दिस. अगर मैं लाहौर की इस वक्त सबसे बड़ी एग्जांपल लूं तो कौन सा मसला है जो लाहौर को इस वक्त फिक्स करने की जरूरत है? सी, यू ऑलरेडी नो इट. नाउ द थिंग इज हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू विल एक्चुअली गो डीप इनटू अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि यार देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम दैट्स आउट देयर एंड वी आर टेक बिल्डर्स, वी हैव द डेटा एज वेल, but only few will have the moral courage to step up for this moonshot. So solving the Lahore smog problem is not easy. It's seemingly impossible. But is it doable? I don't know. Is it important to fix? Yes, because it's the question for our kids, it's the question for our future. So Google similarly has this moonshot factory where Google thinks of these really, really crazy ideas. And I want you to think about these ideas. कि यार ठीक है, आप लोग अपनी companies में जो काम करें, the problems that you're trying to solve, those are important. But based on the knowledge that you have, how can you solve these local problems? And I'll tell you why, because कुछ ऐसे groups हैं who reached out to me, and I'm already in touch with some of these groups. And then we found out कि यार अच्छा एक्चुअली जो लाहौर स्मॉग का प्रॉब्लम है वो लिंक करता है एग्रीकल्चर के साथ, वो लिंक करता है ट्रांसपोर्ट के साथ. सो इट्स अबाउट रियली गोइंग डीप एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट आर द प्रॉब्लम्स एंड व्हाट आइडियाज कैन वी यूज टू सॉल्व देम. इसी तरह जो गूगल में ये डिवीजन है which was at one point known as Google X, now it's just known as X, because वो क्या काम करते हैं किसी को नहीं पता, वो क्या सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. इट्स लाइक अ वेरी टॉप सीक्रेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट इट यूज्ड टू बी इंक्यूबेटेड at Google at some point, and this was the person who started it, Astro Teller. And he said the leaps of innovation require a bravery that borderlines on absurdity. You need to be able to think of ideas that are so crazy कि आपके सारे दोस्त आपको कहें यार लगता है तुम पागल हो गए हो, या you know these are क्या तुम्हें जरूरत है ये करने की. So these kind of things, when when your friends tell you this, or when your parents tell you this, is exactly the right time to work on these kind of ideas. And इस तरह की काफी examples हैं. This is the first example. So almost, if you look at 10 years back, nobody could have possibly imagined there would be an actual self-driving car on the roads. And I'll tell you what, when I visited the Google Mountain View campus and I see one of these almost a few years back in front of my eyes, it was actually like magic. Okay, how is it that a car is driving by itself, and the guy who was basically in it, वो पीछे बैठे हुए थे and he was working on his laptop, and आगे गाड़ी में कोई भी नहीं है, and it's just working by itself. But now it's a commercial product, and now it's available. में तो है ही है, but इसी तरह के काफी और ज़्यादा projects हैं which are on self-driving cars. So again, सोच बड़ी है तो they are able to achieve these kind of amazing things. Another project is Google Loon. Does anyone know Google Loon क्या करता है? लिखा हुआ भी है, पढ़ के बता दें. So it provides internet in areas where there is no internet. क्या कभी हमने सोचा है कि पाकिस्तान के वो इलाके जिधर इंटरनेट नहीं है, how are we able to create an opportunity for the young people there? Again, something that Google is working on. There's another project which is called Verily, which is about enhancing life sciences or enhancing the life standards and helping people live healthier lives. And the good thing is now, it's not just Google. So there are companies like Netflix, who are solving, at the end of the day, आपको लगता होगा कि यार Netflix क्या है? I just go there to watch a few TV shows. But at the end of, if you really go deep, Netflix solves some really, really amazing computational high-tech problems. इसीलिए अगर आप उसको high-speed internet पे access करें तब भी वो चलेगा, लो स्पीड इंटरनेट पे एक्सेस करें तब भी वो चलेगा. So Netflix was able to figure this out on a scale. And you would be actually surprised that Netflix में the highest paying job is actually that of a mathematician. So Netflix does very super high class has an engineering team. So go read up on how they are doing this. Then things like Airbnb, again, solving scalable problems for everyone. People moving from hotels to Airbnb. कितने लोगों ने Airbnb use किया है? So Airbnb works in Pakistan as well. Abroad तो चलता ही चलता है. So the thing is that how these companies were able to think of very scalable problems which could be solved with tech. And then Tesla. कितने लोगों ने Cybertruck देखा है? It's crazy when you look at that Cybertruck. And for those who not, जिन्होंने नहीं देखा, just go and Google it. Tesla announced it a few days back. It's crazy when you think of how एक तो उसका design, उस पे बहुत polarity है, कुछ लोगों को अच्छा लग रहा है, कुछ लोगों को नहीं लग रहा. But it's about thinking how you can solve these kind of problems with technology. And it's not just companies. There are all sorts of organizations who are working in these kind of really amazing challenges. और I think जो सबसे important question है जो आपने सोचना है वो ये कि why you are the person who are going to solve these kind of challenges. And I think it's at the end of the day, if you really feel about your country, if you really feel about these challenges जो आपके country में exist कर रहे हैं या country में exist नहीं भी कर रहे, if let's say the challenge is that you are very clear that you want to make money or you want to solve some kind of a problem, then you are the right person to do that. एक learning इसमें ये cannot do this all by yourself. You need to have fresh minds. You need to have people who can work with you to solve these kind of problems. तो अगर आपको एक चीज में बहुत ज़्यादा मसला पेश हो रहा है, like you're trying to build something and you're not able to figure this out, try to think of who else can you talk to. Can you talk to a mentor? Can you find a friend? Who can you talk to who will help you solve this? Question everything and everyone. These big tech companies have done that. They're able to achieve scale because they're able to localize. And the very good example is Careem and Uber. And then there are companies like Airlift and Swivel who are able to question the model of another business model and then come up with things like this. And generates ideas as if sky is the limit. Try to have the moral courage to think about ideas that are very crazy, but they can change the world. And prioritize and select what you want to work on. Fuel the best ideas with effort, resources, and time. Obviously, you as a human have a limited capacity and time. So you need to see कि आपने किन किन चीज़ों पे काम करना है, किस तरह के focus के साथ. And all you need the courage is to try. I've seen this कि youngsters or people who in Pakistan who are learning technology, उनका पहला जो सबसे पहला step उनको लेना होता है that is to try. Like I hope कि आज जब आप वापस जाएं, you're able to try one new idea that can change Pakistan in some way. So think about what is your moonshot. What is that one idea that will create massive impact? And that's why we have a Moonshot Planner. It's like a planner for your next couple of years, जिससे आप सोच सकते हैं कि कौन से एक idea पे आप काम करना चाह रहे हैं and what kind of an impact that will create. And this toolkit is very easily available online. But I think what's important in this moonshot planning is to have the kind of mindset that will give you the right kind of leadership to solve that kind of problem. So based on that, you need to develop what I call as the 10x mindset. So 10x mindset kya hai? I just have a few points I'd like to share. So the first one is about doing the small things. Again, हमारे थोड़ा माशरे का एक जो मसला कह लें या एक जो चैलेंज कह लें कि यंग लोग चाहते हैं कि वो पढ़ें, उसके बाद उनको जिस पे एक डेस्क पे लैपटॉप पड़ा हो, पीछे एसी चल रहा हो और कोई उन्हें पूछे ना. This is a very big mindset challenge. It's very contrary to what's written here. कि do the small thing first. क्या आप एक ऐसी चीज कर सकते हैं जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा repetitive है, and can you do it really, really good? Because if you can do it really, really good, you're able to help a machine to do it for you. So do the small things first and do them well. And I'll tell you a very small problem at home that I was able to automate using this. So, और ये मसला आपको भी फेस होता होगा. So my अम्मी from the longest time, पिछले 15 साल से मुझे कह रही है बेटा दही और नान ले आओ. और ये एक ऐसा मसला है जो कि हम सबके घर में चल रहा है. So obviously when you grow with time, you're able to see how you can automate this. So now, I was able to figure out that I've given a simple number to my ammi, which automatically, calls and gets something delivered to her. So it's about seeing कि वो कौन सी छोटी-छोटी सी चीजें हैं जिसको आप साथ-साथ automate कर सकते हैं. The second one is to listen, to understand, and not to respond. I think again हमारा एक जो थोड़ा सा one of the challenges that we have as a society is कि अगर आपको कोई भी कोई feedback देगा या आपसे कोई भी कोई बात करेगा तो आप फौरन आगे से जवाब देना शुरू कर देंगे. But if you just listen to understand, not to respond, that can help you develop a good listening capability, which is super important if you want to solve really, really big problems. Connect before you pitch and pitch with your heart. So whenever you're pitching ideas, try to pitch from the other person's perspective. Try to have empathy with the other person. Okay, why would the other person buy your idea? And this works in tech companies a lot. आप अपनी management को कोई idea sell कर रहे हैं, आप अपने दोस्त को कोई idea sell कर रहे हैं. Anything, anytime you're pitching, you're basically selling an idea. And if you pitch with your heart, you're able to sell your idea the right way. I love this one. Keep your friends closer and keep your friends close and keep your critics closer. So the point of this is कि आप में से कितने लोगों के इधर ऐसे कोई दोस्त हैं जिंदगी में जो उनको काफी कहते रहते हैं कि जो भी वो कर रहे हैं that's the right thing. So कितने लोगों के ऐसे दोस्त हैं जो उन्हें कहते रहते हैं भाई जो भी कर रहे हो जबरदस्त करो करते रहो. Zabardast. So you need to change your friends. Because you need to have people around you who are able to help you think differently, who are able to challenge you. And that's why I usually keep my critics very close to myself, because they help me challenge myself. कि यार ये जो कर रहे हैं हम सही कर रहे हैं, या do we need to do things differently? And whatever you do, you build a community around it, because you can't learn without a community. आप जो मर्जी कर लें, अगर आपकी इर्द-गिर्द आपकी community नहीं होगी, you will not be able to learn. So do not learn alone. Try to learn with a community. I think an objective that I have for you people here is कि at least आज जब आप एक session से जाएं, DevFest से, so you should meet at least 10 new people that you have not met before. So just try to think of that. And communication is key. I think one of the biggest challenges that I've seen with tech leaders in Pakistan, whether it's students, whether it's professionals, is that they really, really need to learn how to communicate. They really need to see कि वो जो pitch कर रहे हैं वो किसी को समझ आ भी रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा. और अक्सर जो है वो यही होता है challenge के how people in the tech industry pitch. That's very different to how people in marketing or business understand. That's why there is always this big gap. So try to think of how you can make communication a very integral part of your life. यहाँ पे कितने लोग इस वक्त professional developers हैं? जबरदस्त. So another thing you can learn is that problems हमेशा linear होते हैं, but solutions can be very adaptive. कि अगर आपको कोई कहे कि ये मसला solve नहीं हो सकता, तो instead of just saying कि this is the best that I could do, you could actually think what are some of the other ways in which you can solve that kind of a problem. Super important. What is being done should be measured. What is being measured could be improved. अगर आप अपनी किसी भी चीज को measure नहीं कर रहे, there is no way you can improve it. So try to think of how you're digitizing, your tasks and how you're trying to improve it. And goals are cool, environments are cooler. Goal achieve करने से, goal रखने से कुछ भी नहीं होगा. You need to create an environment for that particular goal that will help you achieve that. Ruthless prioritization, something I learned recently. मतलब अगर आप प्रायोरिटाइज कर रहे हैं कि जी आज आपने DevFest पे जाना है और अपने दोस्त के साथ हैंग आउट नहीं करना, I think that's the right kind of prioritization, and that's the kind of prioritization that you need to have in your life. Unless a prioritization does not hurt you, मतलब आपको सही तकलीफ ना हो जब तक कि यार ये चीज नहीं करूंगा तो I really want to hang out with my friend, but today is a day for learning. So ruthless prioritization, and it's okay to slow down and take a break and reflect over what you're doing. And whatever you do, do it with empathy, do it with love. Try to bring in the human element to it. These are some of my learnings. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. Indeed, that's the only thing that has changed the world. I think people in this group here can be the change makers for Pakistan, can be the thought leaders, can be the tech leaders. So I really encourage you to be a part of all the different communities that Google has. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा truncate हो रहा है, but it's Google Developer Experts, Google Launchpad, Google Code Labs, GDG, GBG, Women Tech Makers, and do talk to me if you ever see me. So I think we are, and developer student clubs as well. पीछे से मुझे developer student club lead ने एक इशारा करके बताया कि I should not miss it out. Yes, it's a new program of Google. So काफी ज़्यादा programs हैं, be a part of it. And if you ever have a crazy idea that you want to discuss with me, और आप manage कर लें while it's shaking कि क्या लिखा हुआ है. So it's my email address. It's saadhamid@google.com. Please do not reach out to me with your problems कि आपका Gmail नहीं चल रहा है या Gmail hack हो गया है. I will not be able to help you out with that. But if you have a tech idea that you want to get some help on and you want to figure out which is a good Google technology that you can use to scale it up, please do reach out to me. So that's it from my end. I would love to talk to you more later on, but I think my time is up. Yes, thank you. Real quickly, because I don't want to from the other speaker, so I'll just take quickly one or two questions. एक साथ ही पूछ लें, and then I'll answer them. Okay. तो एक आप पूछ लें. Yes.
Okay, my name is Fahad Ashraf. I'm from Ubisoft, and I would like to know what are the plans, what plans do Google have for Pakistan, and what currently is Google doing in Pakistan, like offices and for development stuff or marketing stuff?
Zabardast. So about Google offices in Pakistan or Google, what Google is doing. आप भी पूछ लें, एक साथ ही बताएं, मैं एक साथ ही जवाब दे दूँगा. मैं 3 का पहले जवाब दे दूँ. मेरी जो RAM है ना, वो भी अभी शायद 3 ना याद रख सके. So your question was about, so this what you're seeing here are the first building blocks towards that. So you see we have a lot of active Google developer groups, which are in Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, Peshawar. We have developer student clubs, which are in 17 cities. We have a lot of engineering talent that we're trying to gather. And once we get to that point where we are able to build that case, oh, now there are a lot of developers, what do we do with them? We are hopeful that we'll be able to build a case to make something happen. What that something look like, I don't know. But my job is to build that case. Okay, now there are too many developers who are working on amazing technology, we have amazing talent, so what do we do with them? So I think these, what you see here, because we have a DevFest right now going on in Karachi as well, so lots of activity that's going on, and hopefully this will turn into some fruitful thing in the end. आपने जो counterproductive का कहा, so you're right, at the end of the day, a lot of things don't work, but that should not limit us to not chase the very crazy things. So one example is कि when they went to the moon, उसके बाद आज तक वो moon पे दोबारा नहीं गए, right? But it's about showing, inspiring everyone to do those crazy, so their mental capacity can grow into doing other things which might not be moonshots, but which might be smaller and more impactful. But जो mental capacity है, उसको आपने increase करना इसी तरह है कि you think about really crazy ideas, कि क्या, and huddle everyone around it. So if they fail, you can move on to the next big thing. And इसीलिए Google की कुछ चीजें, I think बहुत ही few चीजें हैं जो actually चलती हैं, but when they work, they are the sort of things which are used by a billion users. And the thing I can tell you about, the thing that I can tell you about, if you look at Google Assistant was the fastest product that reached a billion users. I think in 8 months. It's crazy when you think about it. But that was only possible when you were able to create so many ideas and then eventually you said, oh, ये शायद चल जाए. So when जब आपके पास ज़्यादा चीजें होंगी, उसमें से फिर आप एक चीज चलेगी या नहीं चलेगी. So you need to create those bigger things. आपका question था? So when you do it with your heart, it means to do it with passion or do it with empathy. के मतलब I think tech world में empathy बहुत ज़्यादा exist नहीं करती. मतलब अगर मैं आपको simple एक मसला बताता हूँ. मसला ये है कि जी अब लाहौर में स्मॉग का बहुत बड़ा मसला है. ठीक है? कितने लोगों को लगता है लाहौर में स्मॉग का मसला है? अब इसको solve करना है. You guys are experts at that, but looking for that, like that group, जिसको थोड़ा सा एहसास यार हम इसको solve कर सकते हैं. So let's huddle up together. Let's work together to do that. So when you have a heart that thinks कि यार technology is not just for solving the big problems या सिर्फ काम के लिए नहीं है, it's not just a job, it can actually create a very hard impact. तो आपको इस तरह के solutions नजर आएंगे which will be to and when it comes to Pakistan, smog तो सिर्फ एक मसला है, हमारे 100 और मसले हैं. 99 problems and smog ain't one. So good luck with this. Again, I don't have much time. We'll hand over to the next speaker. But do talk to me, come to me, and we'll discuss it later. Thank you so much.